everyone. INSAP organized a conference on the URA last Saturday, and together with members of the civil society, organizations and NGOs, we have released a joint press statement last Saturday, which I believe has been very well covered. And together we've developed into a memorandum of which the signatories and the endorsees are here today representing 16 organizations, which include the KL, RA plus SD, the National House Buyers Association, the Pertubuhan Profesional Tanah Malaysia, MITFM, RISM, Perika Bandar, G25, and various other organizations. The purpose of today's meeting is we would like, as signatories of this memorandum, to hand over the memorandum officially to Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri President as Member of Parliament of Aitam and also Member of the Parliamentary Special Select Committee on Infrastructure, Transportation and Communications. So to kick off the proceeding, perhaps I can invite Madam Pui to represent INSAP and the NGOs together to hand over the memorandum.
I'm very grateful today to receive the memorandum of 16 CSOs or the signatories for this joint statement. And basically, after the town hall discussion, and the statement was issued immediately after that meeting. And today we have 16 organizations who signed for the memorandum to state our position, which is against the present form of URA. So it is important for us to mention here that come 6th of October will be the session, new session, the third session of the Parliament 15. So this will be the last session, the budget session. So in order to present the views as well as the opinions and the what they call as a result of the consultation with the stakeholders, and today I present this memorandum, which basically describes the position and the opinions of every stakeholder. So today I'm glad to see that there are many influential organizations like National House Buyer Association, we have Kuala Lumpur Residents Action for Sustainable Development Association, KLRA plus SD, and we have this two professional bodies, which is Malaysian Institute of Property and Facilities Managers, MPFM, Royal Institution of Surveyors Malaysia, PRISM, Malaysia Urban Design Association, Perika Bandar, G25, Datuk Narima, and Friends of Bukit Kiara, we have PJ Sejahtera, Persatuan Petaling Jaya Lestari, we have Alliance of River Tree, and Prima Association Malaysia, PJ Sejahtera, among others. Right? We have, of course, MCA and INSAP. They are also signatory to this. So this is as a result of the discussion since 25th of March. We started the first town hall meeting, and today I'm glad to see that we come up with a consensus. And my duty is to present this to the PSC tomorrow. And tomorrow, Parliamentary Select Committee will convene this meeting, and of course, we will bring this memorandum and present to the committee as well, and followed by other town hall meeting to be held in the next couple of days. And we hope that the government will listen to the grievances as well as the opinions by the various organizations. So I will not go into details because I think you have reported this and you have a summary in 3 languages. You can have a look at the points that was mentioned in this memorandum. So today we're glad to have all the presidents, representatives here, and perhaps you can also raise a question and so that they can answer on behalf of the respective organization. So, any questions?
Right. Discussing from your personal opinion. My name is My name is Benjamin Lee from the Star. I wanted to ask because Datuk, your personal opinion on what should be done on the UR bill.
First of all, I think we have already listened enough voices from the people. That many of them are still skeptical and they don't feel comfortable at all to have the present form of URA bill. So first, as I mentioned in this, many of them have already mentioned in various forums, in terms of transparency, the constitutional rights, and the participation by the residents association, and we talk about this, what you call, in terms of compensation, not clearly stated, and a lot of things has not been ironed out. So therefore, I do not think we are ready for the new URA, and whether we should revisit to have such URA bill or not, because we have existing laws. Whether you can improve upon or just make some amendments to, I think that was the consensus that we have. Over these few months, right? So secondly, we are not like Singapore. Singapore, basically, for public housing, it was built by HDB, a state body. It's not by developers. So you have to make it very clear. When you're making a comparison, it must be a comparison with apple to apple. It should not be totally different characteristics. Okay? And besides, we have other issues as well. As I mentioned, in Malaysia we have so many laws, Strata-title Act, and National Land Code, and we have all the circumstances listed down. What should we do? And the government have to go through the stringent rules and regulations in order to achieve that. Right? So, with the presentation by the PPKT that they are going ahead with this amendment, and by just changing the 75% to 80%, I think the crux of the issue is all about 75% changing to 80%. More than that. So I think it has been elaborated in this memorandum. So I hope that the civil society and even political parties, regardless of which party you are from, whether you are living in the rural area or the urban area, so I think you should view this as a very serious bill, so that in future we have to make sure that every bill endorsed by the Parliament is to the maximum benefits of the people. So I think that is more important. Right, so I would like to open to any of the residents if they want to have, if they have any other additional comments.
Yeah, we're going to open up to the
G35.
Any bigger G25 or any other?
Okay, I'm Dr. Narima. Now I'm wearing my G25 hat. I do wear several other hats as well. For those of you who may not be very familiar with G25, I cut the long story short. We began in 2014, we wrote a letter to the then Prime Minister. We were concerned over two very disturbing trends in the country. One was extremism in Islam. We wanted to bring back moderate Islam, and we wanted to bring back multipluralism so that Malaysia can be an example to the rest of the world how a multiracial country should run. But as time went past, we began to be very, very concerned with issues of malgovernance, especially if there is an issue of inequity and injustice. And URA is one initiative or one move that we view as something that will be unjust to a lot of people, and therefore we came up with the other CSOs to endorse the memorandum and the statement to to not agree to the bill to be made into an act. So that's a very strong statement of G25. Let me wear another hat, perhaps not very relevant to this meeting today, but give me 2 minutes, Soibi. I happen to be a former LPPKN chairman during the 22 months of Pakatan Harapan government. Of course, I was thrown away after 22 months. Now, I was one of the 12 experts of the Asia region to look at mega trends that affect families' wellness and well-being and whatever. And of the 4 or 5 mega trends that we identified and studied very, very seriously and deeply was climate change, migration, population aging, and urbanization. So we think that urbanization is a very, very strong imperative that will make families well or unwell. So that was wearing the other hat. While I have the floor, I want another 1 minute to say this, which I'm sorry, King Chai, that I don't mention this because I was so busy last week, that when I studied the mega trends in Asia and the wellness of families, one thing that we must not forget is to look at it from the gender lens. In whatever changes YB we make, especially to this URA, women are disproportionately affected. So women will suffer a lot. So although it is not in the memorandum, I would like to request that we all keep this at the back of our minds, that any movement on urban, whatever you call it, revitalization or regeneration or revival, remember that the gender perspective is very important and that women are likely to be the main sufferers. Thank you very much for giving me the floor.
Thank you. Next one.
From the professional bodies.
I would like to speak up. My name is Datuk Chang from the National House Buyers Association. We have got ample of laws in Malaysia. We have got enough laws even for redevelopment and all that. There's no necessity for any law. The minister must get his priority right. He is in charge of the Housing Development Act. And in the year 1st June 2015, we changed the law. We call it criminalizing abandonment. That is under Section 18A of the Housing Development Act, whereby any developer who is attributed to an abandoned project goes to jail. It's a jail sentence, and a fine of 500,000 and jail not exceeding 3 years. But that law has been there for the last 10 years. That's 1 decade. Nobody has been prosecuted. So my point is, get your priorities right. Get the abandoned projects, sakit lewat, all sorted out before we embark onto a new law. This URA law is going to open up a new can of worms. I tell you, just imagine, the house is ready, the poor fellow who stays there is already occupying it, developer comes in under the URA, he demolished the building. Then the poor fellow gets relocated somewhere for 3 years. But what if the developer is bankrupt subsequently? And we have got a lot of history of abandoned projects anyway. Because sakit lewat are abandoned. What's going to happen to the poor house buyers? Do not forget, when the house buyers indulge themselves, URA, they got to surrender the title, strata title, over to the developer. Transfer to them Borang 14A. Then master title will then, the individual title will then be dissolved into one master title. What's stopping the developer from taking the master title and charging to the bank? And if he pays on a loan, not a problem. He takes a $500 million bridging loan and he fails, he defaults. What's happened then? The land is going to be forfeited or the land is going to be foreclosed. What's going to happen to these aggrieved house buyers? The people who agree to surrender, thinking the URA is good, they surrender the title in and they get nothing out of it. Who is going to be blamed? The law, being facilitated by the government, is to be blamed. Thank you.
Good point. Mr. President, I think to the press, one thing we need to keep in mind of is whilst there's this debate going on URA, right? The government has already made clear on the list of locations that have already been identified as redevelopment potential, having redevelopment potential. Whilst the debate is going on, there hasn't been moratorium placed on it because everybody has different interpretation as to what redevelopment is all about. And up until today, there has been no government officials who have gone down to the ground to explain to the people what is the process, what is this all about, and that has allowed different miscommunication to fester. And when miscommunication fester, the project can badly mismanaged, and as to what happened to Kampung Sungai Baru, we do not want that to occur. So whilst this URA is being debated, I think the government should really take a serious look about when it has already announced 139 sites throughout Kuala Lumpur, 91 of that are residential areas, right? You have to place a moratorium. Until then, I think you risk a lot of miscommunication on the ground, and people are being put at risk. Thank you.
So Han, are you saying that the present, now, as of now, there were some solicitors believed to be those who are interested in this development to convince or come to persuade the buyers or owners to go for the redevelopment? Are you saying that?
I would say, safely to say, out of the 139 sites, quite a number of them have already been approached by developers. So because there's been no communication, that communication has been kind of outsourced to developers, and developers can always say their version of what that process is. And it is inconsistent from one project to another. I think that is the gap that needs to be patched on. And communication has to go down to the ground. The government has to actually take responsibility of what you have made an announcement, but you haven't actually come up with what is the Kerangka process, what is your framework.
Maybe these people reacted too fast. Okay.
One more issue before I forget. A lot of owners think that this only affects strata-title. But be forewarned, this law URA includes landed property, apart from strata-title, commercial title, residential title, all included. You can look at the list 139. It includes public land as well as TNB land as well as Bank Negara's land. Please ponder over that area, especially those landed property thinking that you'll not be affected. You are wrong, because the video floating around may be strata property. But the law is big enough to cover landed. Thank you.
Deputy Chairman.
I'm the MCA Urban Affairs Bureau. I would like to highlight 2 points, President. Number one, agree. I want to echo what Datuk Chang has just said. That I think there's a strong public misconception that this bill will only affect high-rises and low-cost flats. But in actual fact, if you look at the contents of the bill, it covers landed property as well, right, in areas like PG and Kuala Lumpur. It's the last bastion of what we call good living, not so dense. And all this will be covered under the URA, which I think we have to look at it very seriously. And the second thing is, perhaps there's a blessing in disguise with the introduction of this URA bill, in the sense that it has also brought into attention some of the development and town planning guidelines adopted by local government, as well as DBKL, which need to be revamped, re-looked into, and considered, so that the so-called the idea of sustainable development for the interests of residents must be maintained and protected. These are the 2 points.
Can we have some comments from maybe Pertama, which is represented by Dr. Mohammad Noor? Anything, any perspective from Pertubuhan Profesional Tanah Malaysia?
We completed all the memorandum, follow all the we are more on that method.
I think
Maybe if I
all of us, we are of the opinion, I would say, that we should go for a holistic approach. We do not want any piecemeal solution. So we are not against renewal, per se. We want it, but follow the existing laws and regulations. And you want to come with something, make sure we have maximum consultation. And that's for the betterment of Rakyat Malaysia. I think that is more important. Otherwise, you create more problems to the urban people. Right?
From the professional bodies?
may I see, just to the point that basically there will be a series of new legislation being introduced by KPKT that's coming up. At least 4 new legislations coming up, and they are all to do with everything to do with real estate. So what we like to actually echo just now is that we have our existing legislations now. We need to look into them, especially Strata-title Act 2013. We have so many problems still unsolved, even after 10 years. We started in 2013, now it's already 2025. So it's about 12 years being implemented, and we still have a lot of issues still not resolved. We have abandoned projects which have not been resolved. We have problems in BBKL. PAC found out a lot of irregularities in terms of development system approval, and also ignored public objections. In fact, for this part, you can clearly see public hearing was actually disregarded, and the ministry decided to proceed further. So I think all these things will have to be really, looked into in order for us to protect the rights of the rakyat. And the rakyat is the one which is, you're saying about identifying a land area where I'm staying, and the government can actually just acquire for the purpose of redevelopment. I mean, we have our rights under the Federal Constitution, as you know, Section Article 30, and you have also National Land Code under 92 and 340. So the government should give cognizance to all these rights of the rakyat, and rather than just having the purpose of redevelopment for acquiring the properties. Thank you.
Okay.
In my PFM.
YD, just allow me. Good afternoon, YD, colleagues and members of the press. We represent the Malaysian Institute of Property and Facility Managers. So we'd just like to mention the fact that we are actually pro-development. Nonetheless, the process needs to be fair, transparent, controlled and planned. I think that's very important. And I think the first step that the government should do at this point in time really is to work on the renewal, revitalization and regeneration of the properties rather than redevelopment at this instance. What we also want to suggest is that perhaps a building audit be done in all these premises to ensure the condition of the building. We have got building surveyors who can do that for you all. And I think the other matter that we want to highlight also the fact that for buildings and all that, they don't go dilapidated overnight. I think property management is a very critical issue that we need to look into it. We have got property managers under Act 242 of the Valuers Act who are registered with the board, who are trained, who are qualified to actually manage this property and all that. And sometimes at the end of the day, the property maybe just need a fresh coat of paint, they probably got some leakages, and then maybe in terms of the lift and also the fire protection system may just need to be upgraded to make it more current. And for the non-MME part, maybe better security and cleanliness and all that. That all can be looked into, and that will probably solve more than 50% of the issues that we have at this point in time. The other issue, if I may continue, is that the collection of service charge and maintenance charges at this point in time, perhaps maybe the law need to be strengthened, because I think sometimes you don't have money in that particular department, you cannot do anything. So I think residents need to be compelled to make payment for the service charge and the maintenance charge to allow them to collect. And the last part, perhaps if the building is derelict, unsafe for occupation, or even abandoned, in that circumstances, I think redevelopment is something that we can consider. This is something that we call as a value creation, whereby an old premises and all that, no longer safe for occupants and all that, will be knocked down and redeveloped to take advantage of the highest and best use, and also for the new density and all that. So that's our point. Thank you.
Any final statements?
I think what Mr. Lam has said is important, that even the existing law, it did allow the redevelopment of any rundown flats or which is declared unsafe by the authority. So I think that concludes what we have been talking about. And this is not talking about flats and condominium alone. It includes landed property, commercial, and any other buildings and land. So we must be, sorry, I have to say this word, we have to be careful. When we pass a law, we must make sure that, we must ensure that the rights of the Malaysians are protected. So I think with that, we would like to close this session. And I think after this, we will just do what is necessary to convey this message to the ESC and to the government. Hopefully, some good decision can be achieved. Right? So I think that is our noble hope, and that concludes our media conference today. Okay? Thank you.